Good morning, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leonid, aka Stitching Noni, and this is my Flosstube, all about my cross stitching journey. I am back on, what date is it? It is, I have no idea. I've got, 6th of December. That'll do. 6th of December 2023. And I am really just here for a quick, brief update on November. I haven't worked on a lot, but I've achieved a bit. So yeah, I've got to finish 2 finishes. I've got 2 finishes to show you. And just as I decide to do this, I can hear the rubbish truck. So I hope he's not coming past and we won't get too much noise. What else do I have to show you? Nothing. Because guess what? Nothing. Well, actually I do. I've got a little tiny bit of stash. Some sad news. But yeah, but 2 finishes. So shall we just get on with it, because you know what it's like. I'm going to have to turn around here a little bit because I've just put something on my screen which I need to keep an eye on, just so that I can make sure I'm not missing my meeting. I've got a meeting shortly, so this is going to be a bit of a rush to get stuff done before I have to start work and have a meeting first up this morning. I apologize at the moment. I have a croak. I have the frog visiting in my throat. I'm not sick. I've just got this thing going on at the moment when my voice is coming and going. So I will try and get through this without losing my voice. Right. So my last video was at the beginning of November. And in that you obviously got an update for my stitching for October. And I can't remember the exact date I did my video, so I think I did show you a little bit of November stitching, but it wouldn't have been more than a day or 2. Same thing's going to apply obviously for this one, because you'll see what I've done for the first 5 days of December in this one. I worked on 5 whips. What if I just move my iPad in front of me? That'll make life easier. Oh God, brain, speak words hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I worked on 6 whips in November with 2 finishes, so awesome job. So we're going to first start with, I'm going to get myself a little bit more organised, Brush with Magick. So currently I joined a challenge on, I think it was Extreme Challenge Group, I can't remember now. I'm really bad at not checking that before I do these things. And I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I joined a challenge group. I joined a challenge which was to choose a whip and stitch on it for 3 months, 2,000 stitches at a time, and it was the one of the solstice. My brain is really not working. I don't know what's going to happen with this video because I just seem to have a brain freeze today. So it was to stitch from October through to March, so basically for a quarter of the year, but it was related to one of the moons, solstice moons. I can't remember which one it is now, but that's okay, because you know what, if I think about it, I'll pop it down the bottom and then you'll know what I'm talking about, because it's up here but it's not coming out here. Typical. But anyway, guess what, Brush with Magick was the one I chose, and the reason we chose Brush with Magick is because it's got a, you can see the moon. So this is a little bit that's hiding behind here, which I didn't work on, that was from last time. So unfortunately I didn't get my 2,000 stitches for this one for the month. I'm a bit disappointed, but I just didn't get back to it. I did get 1,086 stitches in, and it's all just basically in this space here. You can see now we have a distinct cat's tail. And obviously that's the moon and the branches of the tree. This bit here is the broomstick. So there's quite a lot of colour shading in the broomstick. So that's the bit I'm working on now and coming down. So I'll come down basically here. My plan is to get to there, come across, and then I'll work back away so I can move the Q-snap. So because it's only a little bit hiding here, but I don't want to make the Q-snap much wider because I haven't actually left myself a lot of margin on the side of this. But that's where that's at. So quite pleased. I'll obviously have put pictures up so you'll see before, after, what it looks like. But yeah, 1,086 stitches. So This needs to have a few more little stitches, obviously, to go into it to get a 2000s for December. So it will come out at some point very shortly. Where am I going to put this? I'll just put this there. Now I just realized I haven't updated my stitches on my WIP for December, but I'll talk about that when we get there because I'm jumping ahead. The other one I did pull out for the month is Mini Night Cafe. Oh, back up. Ugh. A brush with Magick. It's a HAED. Artwork by Lisa Parker. 1/1, 25 count. Lugana. Line drawn now under that one. This one is Mini Night Cafe. It's a HAED. It is the artwork by Leonid Afremov. And it is absolutely gorgeous. I love the colours in this. I managed to get another 710 stitches in this for November, and here we are now where we're up to. So basically I was just working over here and got this little bit. Again, I didn't get back to this. I did plan to come back and round it out to 1,000, but we didn't get there. So this is what this looks like now. You would have seen a little picture and all of wherever I can fit it, because I'm trying to do the right thing and keep my WIPs in a place where I can easily put in the pictures so that you can see side by side. But I'm never going to get organised. Never going to be professional with this. And this is what we're looking at now. So I do have a little bit more to come across to get to the other side. And then again, once I've got to that side, I'll work my way back and go forward. This is really so easy to work on. Yes, it gets a bit frustrating when there's all the little bits of confetti in there, but yeah, it's just amazing looking at the colours. It doesn't look like much at the moment because it's a blob, but that is obviously a bit of a tree. And there's some, that's the word, supposed to be the word cafe, I think. I suspect that's the sign, but we're getting there. I will get a bit more work on that one, hopefully this month. I'm not promising. I don't know what my goals are yet for the month. I haven't even thought about goals for December, and I am trying to get my head around the fact that in what, 25 days it's 2024. Can't get my head around that either. I think it's 25 days. That'd be right, something like that. There we go. There goes the rubbish. Thank goodness for that. Okay, so 710 stitches on Mini Night Cafe. I then worked on something which I'll come back to in a minute. Two things I'll come back to in a minute. I did pull out, oh, this poor neglected little WIP. Oh, my poor little friend. She don't get a lot of love. But I did give this lady some love. So this is Mistress of the Hunt 2. And I had to pull her out because one of my prompts in my WIP Warriors Rose trip was to stitch on something with roses. The only WIP that I could find that was, possibly I could have picked on was Nantucket Rose, which is my lavender and lace. I didn't want to pull that out because I didn't know where I was going to put it, and I knew I would not get that finished this year. So then I looked at this one a little bit more in detail, and I noticed that in the top of her hair, she's got what looks like, could be pink roses. No, well, you know what? I'm saying they're roses. So she got 471 stitches. Yeah, I know. Not a lot. Not a lot at all. In fact, embarrassed to say she only got 471 stitches. But I got over my fear of, not fear, but my sort of I guess my dislike of this stuff. I managed to do it. Now I'm just looking here quickly because a lady did ask me a question the other day on my last video. Now where has it gone? She asked me why I don't like 25 count gridded Lugana and compared to using the plain Lugana. So I thought I might as well answer it here. I actually don't really know the answer to this, but I do find the grid lines confusing. And I don't mean confusing in a bad way. I just mean that I'm so with the plain Lagana, I just keep stitching and I have no issues with the counting. Joke. Generally have no issues with counting across. But with this, I often I start to count and then I think, hang on a minute, did I start my 10 on the line, under the line? Oh, yeah. So that becomes a thing, which I know it's just a brain thing. If I'm stitching on this for a while, I get into the flow of it. But I think my biggest problem is I don't come and stitch on this often enough. And so it sort of like becomes a real pain when I actually do stitch on it. I think what I just need to do is just spend more time on it. But I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable stitching on it. It's stiffer, yes, which is probably good in one way because I don't tend to have my stitches sometimes disappear under the thread. Oh, washing machine's done. Yay! But yeah, I don't know. I'm just don't get comfortable using it. Maybe I just need to have more on them and then I will maybe feel more comfortable. But I think it is just because I'm not used to stitching on it. I've never used grid lines in any of my stitching. So to actually now use grid lines just feels awkward. Yeah, it's probably more a case of just spend more time on what I'm doing with this to get used to it, to get comfortable with it. I don't know. I can't answer the question really. It's just a feeling that when I'm stitching on this, I'm not comfortable with stitching on it. I think it is just more a case of I just need to do more on this to become comfortable with it. And then I could probably say I don't dislike it as much maybe. But yeah, I did 471 stitches and I came across here. Lots of greens. The antlers here are coming out. So I'm happy. I'm not as happy as I should be with this. I would like to have got more done on this for the year. But you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. But I'll come back to it. So yeah. So I am happy. I'm happy with what it's looking like. We'll see what happens for December. I might bring her out again in December. Spend a bit of time on her and maybe have a look. I think I've only done, what have I done for the year on her? So I've only done 3,000 stitches for the year on her, so 3,200. Mustn't forget that 200, that's a lot. So maybe I will try and do some more work on her. We'll see what happens. I shouldn't discount her because she is gorgeous. Yes. So that was Mistress of the Hunt 2, Enchanted by the Sewing Shop, and the artist is Heather Kramer, and it's stitched on 25 count. Easy grid, 1/1 with DMC. Now the other question that the particular viewer asked me was, she said, with having so many HAEDs, do you purchase the threads for each one or work from a master set? And if purchasing threads for each project, what sort of method of storage do you use? So what I should have done is bought it in to show you. But yes, I do tend to buy my threads for every HAED that I've kitted up so far, every full coverage. I've always kitted all of my WIPs each time, and I always keep my threads with my projects. I've always done that for whatever I've done. So I carried on when I first started doing my HAEDs. That's what I did. So I carried on, got all the threads, made sure, and obviously because I do one thread rather than two, which is the recommended, I tend to probably not need quite as many. But if it's like say a 310 or something and there's a whole lot, I might sort of, because I'm always worried about dye lots, and because you do see sometimes people have had to buy, say, another grey or something, and there's a distinct difference in it. So I'm always worried about the dye lots, which is why I buy a full lot for my HAEDs, knowing that it's probably going to take 20 years to stitch some of these things, if I live that long. So I do tend to kit everything up. having said that, when I did a kit up just recently for the 2 that I'm starting in a couple of weeks, I did look through exactly what I needed, how many stitches were in them. And then I looked and sort of said, well, hang on a minute, I've actually got that thread in another one. So what I can do, it only needs 50 stitches. I'm not buying a full skein. I will just steal from the other one and put it in my box. So I have boxes. And what I might do is, if I think about it, I will take a photo and slot it in for while I'm talking about. So I went to the Red Dot store and I bought some boxes that fit. They would actually fit more, but I get a full HAED in the box, and I put them into little Ziploc sandwich bags. And the way I like to stitch is I usually cut the length. And I cut my lengths exactly the same size. So they're about sort of arm length, but what I do, you'll love it. In the Twinings English breakfast tea boxes, which I drink a lot of, there's actually like the little cardboard dividers. They are perfect for making as little thread holders. So I save all of those, punch holes in them, and I usually can get 6 or 7 across, I can't remember now. So I usually punch them, but they're about so big. I actually use them, I go 3 times around, and that is my length of thread that I cut for all of my projects, regardless of what I'm doing, except for when I'm using specialty threads. I don't do that, I do it differently. But I then, for a HAED, cut that in half. So my single length is half of what I normally stitch with, but it's about right because normally I double my thread. So I use the loop method on a normal project when I'm stitching with 2 threads. So that long length actually becomes a half, and it is the perfect stitching length for me when I'm stitching. So that is why with my HAEDs, I just kept to the same thing, but I cut them in half and made them half the length. What I might do, because this is probably going to be a little bit of a short video, I might not put this up in the next day or 2. I might do a little bit of a snippet video of what I do, and then I can slide it in. It makes it's easier to show sometimes, I think, than explain. I'm like that when I teach people. I like to show rather than just explain. That's just easier. So yes, so I do use a kit up each HAED. And in fact, I might as well show you now. I got these out to do this. So this is, I've kitted all this up for one of my starts that I'm doing. This will be the mini Paris morning. So this here, I've chucked in at the moment in a bag. When I'm on leave in the next 2.5 weeks, yeah, I can't wait. I will put these into sandwich bags and get it all ready. In most cases, I will probably cut some lengths depending on what colours are in that first 200 or 300 block that I want to use to get my WIP ready for next year. And the rest I will cut as I need to go. So that's for my mini Paris morning. And then, look at this lovelies. Look at these lovelies. This is Haunted House, which is the Donna Gelsinger one. So these are all the threads. So what I've done is there is a lot of, which one was it? I can't remember now. Might have been 310, probably 310. So there was quite a lot of skeins of that. So I just basically halved the number it said, because I only used 1 thread, not 2. And then I added an extra skein, just to be on the safe side. So if it said it needed 10, I did 5, add 1, I got 6. So if I don't use them all, it doesn't matter, because they will go into my main storage box. And if I do use them all and I need more, at least I would hope that I won't need too much more. That's my thought. That's my thought pattern anyway. So, so basically what I do is I get my sandwich bag. I have my little piece of card, which I've punched. I then cut my first length, cut it in half, get that ready, throw it in the bag. When I'm really super organized, I actually get the little Dymo machine and I put the skein number, the DMC number on it. My first one I did, I actually printed out my HAED list with all the symbols. I cut the symbols out and I put them on the plastic bag, and that took hours. I don't have that time now. So now the most I do is either use the little Dymo machine, the little label maker, and put the DMC number on it, which makes it nice and easy to flick through. or I would put a piece of one of those note cards, the student note cards, in that as well, because it keeps it stiff then, and I will write the DMC number on that as well. So when I'm flicking through, I leave them sticking up and I can just flick through and go, yep, this is the one I want. So that's how I do my HAEDs. My actual DMC storage is exactly the same. So when I finish one of these HAEDs, I will basically be a shift and lift. I can just pick up the baggies and put them into my main DMC storage. And that's why I did my HAEDs that way. I don't bombinate. Life's too short. I used to use bobbins right back in the early days, the very, very early days of my stitching, because that was what everybody did. And I had the cardboard bobbins. But I find that it just takes so long to do it. And then you get the kink in them. And if I use some of my older threads that have been on bobbins, that are still probably chucked in the box, still on the bobbins, I find that I got the kink and it doesn't seem to flow as nicely as just leaving them on the thread. I think that's all I need to tell you on that. So hopefully that answered your question. I think it might be easy if I just do a little snippet video and I can slot it in here somewhere. Was there any other questions? I might as well, while I'm here, just see. I don't think so. I think I owe some people some comments on their questions, so I'll better go back and do that at some point. So that was a little bit of a sidetrack, but it was worth mentioning then while I was talking about my HAEDs, or my full coverage. So I thought it was a good idea just to add that in right there and then. My next one I'm going to show you, so they were the full coverage, but I also had 2 finishes in November. The big finish was Coffee Saves Lives by Heartstring Samplery. So I will pop obviously that picture up, but you'll see this. And this is stitched on Gold Digger from memory. Yes, 28 count Opal Lugana Gold Digger from Colour Cascade Fabrics. And unfortunately, as I mentioned before, Tabby no longer does her fabric, which is a bit of a shame because I love her fabrics, as you hear. So this is it in its entirety now, all finished. Can't remember where I was when I showed it to you last, but I'll pop a picture up. But I know it was down in this bottom bit because this was where we were up to. I even managed to put my own initials in, and I put 2023 because obviously that's when we finished it. I'm really pleased. It's done. Yes, I had some annoying moments and I got annoyed with it a few times and nearly put it down, but at the end of the day, she is now done. And I'm very, very happy with this. This is stitched in all of the called for threads. So all of the Gentle Arts and Weeks and Colour Classics, Gentle Art and Weeks, yeah. So all of the called for threads. And it's stitched 2 over 2, as I mentioned, on 28 count. And it's just too big to really show you properly. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this now. It was ironed, but of course I've had it folded up again. So that's why you've got that. But yeah, and look at my donuts. Look at my cute little donuts. Do you want to see my donuts? Let's just get this folded. You have to have a look at the donuts. Aren't they just good enough to eat? So I think when I mentioned, did I tell you last time that I had to redo my bit of my basket because I'd stuffed up. So my basket I redid, I just sort of fixed this up. So this is not quite right because I didn't bother to pull this out. I just pulled out what I had down here and fixed it up to make it all work. But there we go. And the little French nuts. So quite happy with that. And the lady, and I have no idea what they're supposed to be. Some weird and wonderful thing. I guess the tree is maybe they're the coffee beans. I don't know. It doesn't explain. Maybe they're the coffee beans. Maybe that's the coffee tree and maybe that's an apple tree. I don't know. But I'm pleased it's done. finally. So I started that one on the 17th of June 2017, and I finished it on the 16th of November 2023. And to finish it in November, I did 3,643 stitches. So this was my main focus in November. I just kept stitching on it until it was done, and then I was switched over to do the other things, but I wanted to finish this in November. This was the big goal. So when I did finish that, I then obviously had a free spot in my Focus X group, and I still haven't filled in my Joan Elliott slot yet in that group, and my Nora Corbett slot I did put Orchid Pixie in, but I'm not going to stitch on that this year because obviously, one, I'm running out of time, and two, I've got other things to do now. So she may have to just sit there for next year, I think, now. Cool. So I then had to think, what am I going to do? So what I did is I actually went to my road trip, because the road trip around the US finishes on the 20th of December, and I want to finish leg 9. I am doing everything in my power to finish leg 9. I've even done a downgrade from my luxury RV to a tenter. So yeah, I'm in the tent for the next couple of weeks. I'm not enjoying that, no, because I like my luxury of my RV. But that's okay, because I am finishing leg 9. Come hell or high water, I am finishing leg 9. So I then had to think, well, if I've downgraded, but that's fine. But before that, I had to think, how am I going to get the maximum number of deductions in leg 9? Because they do offer deductions for certain prompts and things on the different areas. So I looked through and I'm like, oh God, how am I going to do this? And one of the prompts was a squirrel and one was a wild animal. And I'm like, I've got nothing. I can't think of anything that I can use. So I looked, obviously in the HAEDs. Yeah, no squirrels. Wild animals, yes, in Mistress of the Hunt. And I actually was going to use Mistress of the Hunt for one of the legs for the wild animals, because it's got deer in it. And then I'm like, have I got anything that I can slot in now that I've finished Coffee Saves Lives? Because I'd already thought about what I was going to slot in for that, and luckily I hadn't. So I went through my old stash, you see. I shouldn't say old stash, I should pretty much say all my old WIPs that I haven't looked at for donkeys. And lo and behold, I found 2 that would fit 2 of these proms and give me maximum deductions. One of them I needed a squirrel, as I said, and one of them I needed a wild animal for. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the Joyful World Stitch Along from the Snowflower Diaries that came out in 2016. Yeah, 2016. That's when I started these. Yeah, I just can't. I guess I just can't. It's kind of just unbelievable. But you know what? We can do this. So the first prompt that I actually had to use this for was I had to find something going into the first campground, which it might be easier to me putting a picture up, I think, because I think it's going to be a bit hard to show you. But I had to find a prompt that was something that was hidden, something that would be in your design, but it's hidden. So this is where I got really excited, because I had planned to probably use something like World Travel Bookshelf and then look at the fact there was people with masks on in one of the scenes, the Venetian scene. I could say, well, they're hiding their face behind the mask. So that was my original plan, until I saw these. And then I thought, the stork, he's standing, hopefully you can see this. The stork is standing in the water, so you can't see his feet. So his feet are hidden in the water. And I went, yes. So out came this one for that prompt. And of course, once I got this one and I saw the other ones, I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy now. So I will put the before picture up. There was nothing really done in this. I had done, I think, about 500 stitches in this one, and this was the most advanced out of these WIPs. This was started on the 10th of May 2016, which was for Stitch Mania, and it's now finished. I finished this on the 20th of November 2023, and this is March, and Mr. March is all done. These are, as this was way back in 2016 when I just used crappy fabric in some ways because they weren't fancy hand-dyed in those days. So this is March now, all finished, all gorgeouses. It's just on a 28, I'd say 28, maybe 32. Did I say right? No, see, I haven't written the fabric down because I think it was 28 count. It's a linen of some description. So this is all done now. Quite happy with that one. I had complete, I will actually show you the other ones that I'd completed before. So I'm very pleased. These are just in DMC. They are charted in specialty threads with DMC conversion. And in the way back when, I wasn't using a lot of DMC. Well, I'll start again. I wasn't using a lot of the specialty threads. It was before I'd sort of really discovered 1, 2, 3 stitch. It was not long after that I discovered 1, 2, 3 stitch, but it was in those early days. So I just did it on DMC. So I'm really pleased. That's finally finished. Only took me 7 years. And to finish that, I needed 1,304 stitches. So that was done. So that was finished in November. I then switched across for December to the next one. So the next one was April. And I needed April because I needed a squirrel. And lo and behold, there's a squirrel. So cool, love it. So this one I had only done, before I started, 249 stitches. Now you're now seeing a December finish. This was supposed to have been a November finish. I tried very hard to get this done. I didn't quite make it. So on the 1st of December, I finished this one. And this one I started, when did I start this? This was started on the 11th of May from memory. I think it was the day before or the day after because it was another Stitch Mania one. So he's now finished. So I got 1,385 stitches in November and then I needed 214 to finish. So that was finished. I should have bought a board in for these because they're so see-through. This is the same linen-y stuff that I had on the other one. So that one's now finished. I did use in this little one here because they had the DMC conversion for the flowers was 3041 or 3042. So I decided to blend them. So I got a little bit of a blendy sort of a colour. It's a bit hard to see on the camera, I think. But yeah, so I just decided to blend it. I thought, so I just did one of each. And I thought it came up quite nicely. So not too dark, not too light, just nice. So that's April done now. So perfect, hey? All of a sudden knocked off 2 2016 WIPs. Awesome. So then we moved to, where's the next one? Oh, that's right. Oh, damn, I haven't brought the picture. I'll put the picture of this one up because I haven't brought the chart with me. It's back in the office. So this one, I had only, I thought I'd written it down. I think I'd only done like just on 200 stitches for this one. And obviously you'll have the before picture. And I'm up to here now. So I haven't got what I've done. So I haven't updated my stitches for December since the 3rd. So I've still got the 4th in and the 5th to do. And I did probably another 500, let's say, since I updated. So I'm up to about 1,200 stitches because I'm almost finished on this one. So I picked this one. I needed something with honey. Perfect. There's honey in the bee skip because there's bees all around here. I've got another bee to do up here. And this is the bear. So I've started working on the bear the last 2 nights. These are the lovely apricots and some sort of pretty flower. So once I've done Mr. Bear, there's a little bit of back stitch to join the apricots to the tree on this. And then it's just the border. So I will be done with this in the next few days, which is really good. I'm really happy with that. But this has got me major deductions for about 4 prompts I think I was able to use it for in the end for my road trip. So I'm really, really, really happy. Needle minder is from Inchworm Designs. I love this one. This is my favorite at the moment. And that one I made myself. No, I didn't. Did I make that one? Or did I get that one? I can't remember. I think I bought that one years ago. From yes, I did. Nifty Needle Nannies, but that was a long time ago. So yeah, so just need to finish the bear, which I'll do tonight, and then I can start on the border. So I thought then, seeing as I'm showing you these, you might as well have a blast from the past. So I have in my here, this one is February, not quite finished, but this May, seeing as I'm doing them all, I might as well finish this one. Same fabric. You can see I've actually put some hemming tape on this because it was fraying. I should have done that with the other ones. Obviously I didn't get around to it. So this is February. So you can see almost finished on February as well. All I do is finish that border. So I will probably, when I have finished June, finish the border on this just to knock it off and get that one finished. And looking, I will have to go back to my blog, I think, because this is how long ago these are. I think this is the only one I've finished. I went through my box of finishes and this is the only one I could find that I'd finished, which would probably make sense because then that's January, February, March, April, May, June. So I think this makes sense. So this was January. And I'm pretty sure I finished this pretty much not long after I started it. And then I did a bit of a start-a-thon with those ones for Stitch Mania and something else. Because the June, I started in June. Now, what I didn't realise, and I should have looked at this, and I don't think I've done it on this one. No, because I haven't got that far yet. Is I actually put beads in these. So I didn't realise that until I pulled it out this morning. In the border, and these 3 here, I've put beads, and I've also put beads in my snowflake. But I didn't do that on the other ones because I'd forgotten. That's how long ago I finished this one. I'd forgotten what I was doing. But I'm not going to worry now because I am not going back to add beads. It is just going to stay the way it is. So this would just be slightly different. So this was a little fox for January, February, March and April are now done. June's almost done. I'll come back to February and finish February off. And then that'll be the 6 months of those done. They are still available on her blog. They are free. I will put the link down below here to her blog, and I will also put it in the little description box below because they're cute. They're not really now that I've got back into them, they're not taking me long to finish them at all. Really, they're just really cute. She has recently, May has recently come back out and seems to be back in the designing mode and putting some more stuff out there. You can, I think she sells them on Etsy as well, but she's had freebies around for quite a while. I've got another freebie of hers started, which I really one day must finish. So yeah, we'll get there. Did I tell you 1,304 stitches to finish March? Yes, I think I did. 1385, 1599 to finish April, and so far I've done about 1,200 on June. So that is my WIPs. Done, dusted, bang. The only other thing I've got to show you now that I've shown you my threads is my Jodery. This is my October Jodery. I don't think I showed it to you. I'm pretty sure I haven't. So this is the October Jodery, and this is called Vile's Candy Corn, which is very pretty, very orangey, very nice. It is quite pretty actually. And that's the very pretty orangey thread. I have November and December still to come, and sadly, that will be it. There will be no more Jodery. I'm actually really sad because I love that fabric. But Michelle posted in the Facebook group and emailed us all to say that December fabric is the last fabric she's doing. She's closing her business down. So after 10 years, there's going to be no more Jodery Designs, fabric and threads, which is really, really sad. I quite enjoyed it. To be honest, I was actually thinking stopping next year because I've got so much now. And as I said to my husband the other day, I don't actually do the starts like I used to. So I've got boxes of fabric and from not just Michelle's Jodery design stuff, but also the Colour Cascade stuff. And I've got some leftover PTP from when I was in a PTP fabric club a few years ago. So I've got so much fabric now. I really do not need to buy any more other than fabric to do my HAEDs on. So yeah, I was actually going to cancel my monthly fabric, but I don't need to now because she's not doing it anymore. It's almost like, it's the same when I was thinking about Colour Cascades, and I said to my husband, I really don't need any more fabric from Tammy, so maybe in the end of the year I'll probably just basically cancel my subscription, and then she stopped doing fabric. And I thought the same thing. So I think I've got to stop thinking these things because things happen. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. So I will hopefully get my fabric for my haunted house come. It's on its way. I have my order finally from 123 Stitch sitting in the mailbox for us to go and pick up. I got a notice yesterday saying that's finally arrived. So I was hoping I would have had that to show in this video because there's actually a couple of mill hills in there that I'm going to start for the December, when I do some starts at the end of December. There's a couple of like small full coverage mill hills for full coverage fanatics. One of the events next year is to do a little one, a wee one. So that's why I've got a couple. And I can't remember what else I ordered. I think I ordered a couple of Christmas Santas. Christmas Santas, of course, Christmas Santa. A couple of Santas which are Australian related. I think that's all that was in that packet. So that's coming. I've got my 28 count. I've decided to go 28 count for Haunted House. So I've got my 28 count coming. I hope I haven't made the wrong decision, stitching 1 over 1 on 28 count. See what happens. So that's hopefully will be here this week as well. I know it's been shipped, and the latest tracking thing said it was on its way to WA from Tassie. So hopefully that will get here. So now I just have to plan my start. So I'm not doing many, I'm just doing a couple. Given that I've had 19 finishes so far this year, I think I've had. Yes, 19 finishes so far this year, which I'm really pleased about. So I will be back in a couple of weeks when I've got some leave. I'm going to do a wrap up of 2023. So I'll show all my finishes and all, like basically a WIP parade of where everything's at. So yes, while it might be seem like a double up because I've just shown you things, it'll just be a comprehensive what I've done for 2023 and what my plans are for 2024, because I'm still thinking. I don't know what I'm focusing on. The one thing I have decided is WIP Warriors. They're not doing Focus X this time in 2024. So I'm going to do 24 and 24 rather than SWE, which is stitch what you want when you want. Because I've liked the idea of a focus few WIPs. So I'm going to basically pick 10 or 12 WIPs, which will be my focus. I'm thinking probably 12. So the first half of the WIPs will be focus like I've done this year. The back end will be things that I may even leave some blank spots if I need to bring something in for a prompt. I'm not sure about that yet. Or it'll be just a lot of the older WIPs that really, I could, if I focused on them, finish them. But I've got to try and work out how I want to do this whole thing. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. I'm also, waiting for them to release the info about the Australian road trip that we're going to be doing for 2024. Because once they release that info, it'll give me a bit more idea of how I'm going to structure what WIPs I'm going to work on, because depending on how they're going to do it. So, but that's okay. We're getting there. I've sort of got an idea. I've got to work on my WIP Go board for 2024. I almost got a full WIP Go board this year, but I haven't finished enough stitches on Cat Race. So maybe that might come out in the back end of the year. We'll see what happens. so that I can get a full WIP board, which will be the first time ever. But other than that, yeah, that's it. So I'm going to, this is actually taking longer than what I thought it was going to do. So I'll do, as I said, I'll try and remember in the next hour or two to do a little video of my HAED stuff, and I can slot it in here. Well, back then when I was talking about it. And then I will get this up. And guess what? This is perfect timing because my low battery just came on. So I suppose I better hang up now. So I will finish off now. I will say thank you very much for watching and subscribing and for commenting and for liking my videos. I very much appreciate everybody who does that. It's just awesome to see all the little likes and the comments. I will get back to answer the last couple of comments that I haven't got back to recently. And I will see you again in a couple of weeks, back end of December, when I talk to you about my plans for 2024 and do the wrap up of 2023. So take care, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you. I'll see you later. Bye.